People will believe anything, just about. And we think that we live in a rational society. People think things through to some degree. You can't trick people with just any old lie, right? And yet, I was watching a video on YouTube of trees walking, and it's a mixture of bad videos of wind and then a few bad CGIs, I would say, probably mixed in with it. The general idea is to give you the feeling that people have real footage of something like what you saw of the Ents in The Lord of the Rings. Okay. So trees out for a stroll. Now, I would think on the surface that everyone knows that trees don't just go for a walk. But then I start reading the comments down below, and there's a lot of people talking about how beautiful the trees are and how trees have feelings just like people, and how it would be a spiritual experience if they were able to witness something like that in person. And the list goes on. And I would say probably some of that's trolling. But I also kind of start to get the feeling that some of that is genuine. There really are some people that see a bad CGI montage of full-size trees moving, as in walking, and they believe that that's real. And I'm reminded of a person who I know, and I was sitting there, and we were talking about space exploration, and we were talking about Star Trek and things like that. And he was talking about how amazing it would be to be able to reach out into the stars and go see things like what Star Trek portrays. But then he said that he also has some reservations about some of the television productions that are out there, like maybe science fiction shows or something like Ancient Aliens or any number of other things in the grain of aliens and life elsewhere in the universe, because he said that they kind of seem like they might threaten his spiritual beliefs as a Christian. And so it seems like it might be better not to think about some of those things too much, because since they could encourage doubt in his faith, they might be harmful things. So, there you have a guy. And we could say what we want about aliens. I mean, who knows? I don't believe that they are there. I just don't believe that they're not. And you have a guy who believes in his personal faith. And then he starts to put the blinders on to other things because, God forbid you see something that might challenge your point of view, and then it makes you realize that what you actually been taught or what you believed by faith wasn't accurate. So it's better to just put on the blinders and not take in anything that might challenge the narrative that you've already chosen to accept. There's a lot of ignorance out there. And the interesting thing about it is there's a lot of functionally ignorant people, and they have this ignorance, a willingness to suspend disbelief, a willingness to accept a lie if it's convenient, a willingness to have the wool pulled over their eyes just because it's easier to be deceived willingly through ignorance than it is to come to terms with your life not being what you thought it was, or your ideas not being as valid as you had hoped they were. And a lot of those people are very successful in life too. So it's kind of interesting, I think, that there's so many people out there who are successful in life. They're functional, and yet they're also kind of delusional. And then I guess the other thing is there's so many people who are fixated on setting somebody else straight. Maybe it's a matter of saying, your beliefs are stupid, so you're a moron because you don't think the way I do. And I could be guilty of this as well, just making this remark about people being ignorant. But you have all these people trying to convince other people that they're in some way flawed or deceived and should jump on the bandwagon of enlightenment. And a lot of those very people are really ignorant themselves. They're operating under a lot of very false premises. So what's the takeaway there? Well, you don't want to be a rude, person. You don't want to be out there telling people how stupid they are and how whatever it is that they think is ridiculous, because we all could stand to have a bit less of that in our lives, right? Nobody wants somebody to be there to always be the expert to tell us why we're full of it, why we're wrong. But we do have a tendency to really want to make our decisions based on what other people think, whether we like that or we don't. The truth is that's kind of how we are. And I think it's important to take a step back and really objectively look at how easy it is for people, even the ones who are superficially very successful, the people who we would look at as role models, maybe even, how easy it is for them to believe things which are completely ridiculous. So that's not to say that we should go out there and criticize them, but we should be willing to think for ourselves, to say, hey, what do I think about this? And we should be willing to diverge from what might seem like conventional wisdom enough for us to just be open to thinking things through on our own terms, the way we see fit, because it's totally possible for somebody to be much better off than you financially, in terms of credentials, in terms of life achievements, in terms of so many different things, and also have garish holes in their armor when it comes to being able to think critically. And so don't look at somebody and say, well, that person seems like they've got it together, so they believe that. So I guess I ought to as well, because they wouldn't, they wouldn't believe it if it was wrong, right? And that's kind of like if you're ever driving down the freeway and you're going through bad weather and there's a semi truck barreling down the road there, and you're like, I think I'll follow the semi truck because that guy knows what he's doing. He's a pro. Well, that's great till he isn't, and then you follow somebody off the road into a ditch because you weren't really doing your own driving, you were following. So don't be a blind follower. It doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter how much money they have or what their rank or status is. Always think for yourself, and and then also remember, no matter how stupid people seem to be, it is possible to be that stupid person and not even realize it. It's in human nature. So let people's ignorance be a lesson for you, not ammunition so that you can go out there and be a crusader to judge others. In any case, try to make peace with all men and be a positive person, and you will be probably better for it. That's today's happy thought about life. Till next time, thank you for watching.